Yes, please. Please.
Siddharth?
Yes.
A bright and thankful morning to all. Prayer.
Okay.
Prayer is the moment when we feel God close to us. The function of prayer is not to influence God, but rather to change the nature of one who prays. Now, I would like to call upon Atmika of Prayer for the innovation.
ஆதி முதல் பணே கணபதியே அனைத்து வினைகளையும் தீர்ப்பவனே ஆதி முதல்வனே கணபதியே அனைத்து வினைகளையும் தீர்ப்பவனே எட்டு திசைகளிலும் உந்தன் நாமமே எட்டு திசைகளிலும் உந்தன் நாமமே ஒலித்திடும் போதெல்லாம் பரமானந்தமே ஒலித்திடும் போதெல்லாம் பரமானந்தமே வேலமுகத்தோனே வேலமுகத்தோனே ஞான பொருளோனே வேலமுகத்தோனே ஞான பொருளோனே நாத பிரம்ம சிவ நாயகனே நாத பிரம்ம சிவ நாயகனே சரணம் சரணம் விநாயகனே சரணம் சரணம் விநாயகனே.
Thank you, Atmika. Welcoming is a part of Indian culture followed for centuries. I would like to call upon Haricharan of Graded to formally welcome the gathering.
A cheerful morning to one and all present here. It's a truly an excellent opportunity to extend a gracious welcome to all of you to this momentous occasion. I am profusely elated to take this opportunity to welcome our chief guest, Sri Siddharth Narayanan. We are incredibly pleased to have you with us, sir. Welcome, sir. I am pleasant duty to bid a convivial welcome to our chairman, Sri P. Satyanarayanan, Pon Vidya Mandir, and our beloved secretary, Srimati S. Nityanandi. Welcome, sir, and welcome, ma'am. We are glad to respectfully and cordially to welcome our guest, Dr. P. Ravi, Dean, NIOS, and Outreach Program of our DAV Groups of Schools, Chennai. Welcome, sir. We also cordially welcome Srimati Mallika Sridhar, Dean, Academic Partnership of DAV Groups of School, Chennai. Welcome, ma'am. It's my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to all the principals of associate schools. We deeply honored to welcome our beloved principal, P. Vinodhan. Welcome, sir. It's a true pleasure for me to welcome our parents, teachers, and friends. We warmly welcome you all to this beautiful program. I assure you that this program shall be full of exuberance and excitement, and it will create some beautiful memories for us all. Without any further ado, I would like to start this occasion by welcoming everybody once again. Welcome all.
Thank you, Haricharan. Now I would like to call upon Pritanya of Graded to introduce our chief guest.
Today, our chief guest is Sri Siddharth Narayanan. Siddharth is a motivational speaker, co-founder of Jnanastra Counseling Agency, and he worked in Abu Dhabi prior to setting up the organization in India. He is a public speaker who had achieved competent communicator and competent leader awards in Toastmaster International. He is the executive director of International Peace and Economic Development Organization, and he believes in collaboration to create positive change. He conducts training sessions on public speaking and social media marketing for colleges. He is currently in Executive Committee of Science India Forum, UAE, an organization focused on spreading science and technology to the masses. We felt euphoric to have you with us, sir. Welcome again, sir.
Thank you, Ritanya. Now I request our chief guest to take this platform to inspire the gathering.
Thank you. So am I audible, Siddharth?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, ஒரு தடவை சொன்னா 100 தடவை சொன்னது மாதிரி. So how many of you have heard of this particular dialogue here? How many of you? Maybe you can even use the reactions button. How many of you have heard this dialogue? There's nobody who watches this movie? Okay, maybe quite a few. Okay, that's really cool. Interesting. Okay, so I used to be a huge, or rather, I'm still a huge Rajinikanth fan, and I watched a lot of his movies, and even the old ones. And this particular dialogue is something that has always been on my head for so long, since I was a kid, probably at that time on. And earlier, it used to just be a very cool dialogue, right? It used to be really, wow, a superstar wearing that very fancy clothes coming and telling such a very, very impactful dialogue to you. And then it just sticks on your mind. But as I grew up, when I got into college, I realized the real meaning and the value of that particular dialogue. If I say it once, it should be like me telling it 100 times. The meaning of the deeper meaning of that, what I realized is, if I say something once, it should impact each person deeply so that it touches your heart. Now, ஒரு தடவை சொன்னா 100 தடவை சொன்னது மாதிரி. So if I say something once, it has to touch your heart so deeply that you never ever forget it. So we continuously talk, right? We are really experts at talking, gossiping, talking about the movies that we watch, the series, the shows, the cartoons, what we watch, what is happening in the neighbor's house. We are experts. We are scientists who are researching the neighbor's house, right? So we are experts in a lot of these aspects, and we keep talking about it. Maybe we talk about 500 different things in that 1 minute of our time with a friend. Suddenly you get that two minutes to call a friend during your exam time. Your mom just turns your head, and then that's like the 2 minutes you just get that phone, and then you're like, you tell your friend 100 things, right? So we constantly keep talking, but do we really say something that is of value, for one? Secondly, whatever we say, does that reach the person's ear, and does it go out, or does it go in? Does it go into the person's heart? So that is exactly where communication really comes into picture, right? So talking in front of a crowd, sure, maybe some people can do that, right? So maybe some people have the anxiety, the stage fear, right? So that is one of the first steps that I would like to actually talk about here, right? So I've been talking to a lot of schools, colleges, etc., and many times initially it is the fear of talking in front of an audience that is actually pulling people down, not allowing people to come out there and make an impact in people's lives. So how many people are afraid of talking in front of a crowd? Stage fear or some performance anxiety. How many people have that? Think that they have that kind of a feeling here? Raised hands or the reaction button. Perfect. So it's very normal, by the way. So 73%, that is almost 3 out of every 4 person that you meet in the world, has some sort of a performance anxiety. It's a very, very, very normal thing. So everybody has it. But should that really stop you from going out there and telling people what ideas you have in your head? Well, sure. You might be excellent at studying something, physics, chemistry, math, social science, whatever. You might be experts at studying that. But unless and until you tell somebody, unless and until you tell that I know this, and I want you also to know these things, so let me connect and communicate with you. Until and unless you know this, one thing is that you will not be able to put yourself in the market So one day you will definitely go out there for jobs. You will definitely want those fast cars, live in foreign countries, live in those 60-floor apartments in maybe Abu Dhabi, Dubai, etc. Right? But if they don't understand your value, will people hire you? That is one question. So now that is one of the primary aspects that initially pulled me into communication, pulled me into public speaking initial stages. And the aspect that 73% people, that is 3 out of every 4 person that you meet, has stage fear. So it's very normal. So there is a very, very popular actor named Jim Carrey. So Jim Carrey has come in a various number of shows like Ace Ventura and many Hollywood movies. So he is a big time performer. So he goes to all kinds of stand-up comedy sessions. He delivers amazing speeches, makes people laugh, makes them cry, makes them do whatever he wants because he can communicate ideas. At one point of time, when he was a kid, his mom dressed him up in an oversized suit jacket and then pushed him onto a stage, and he was ready. He had prepared something, so he was ready to get out there and start talking, right? So he stood in front of the audience and started speaking, and the people started laughing. The adults in the audience, they started mocking him, started throwing stuff at him. So at a very young age, one of his first performances, he was booed, and really he felt embarrassed and he had to run out of the stage. This created stage fear in him and created an experience that made him really stop doing stand-up comedy sessions for a long time. But this man ultimately created history. Now he is a superstar. Now he is everywhere. He has acted in movies. He has done stand-up comedy sessions in most countries in the world. So if he can do it, each and every single person here can also do it. But of course, just like that, giving you a stage, asking you to talk might be difficult. Suddenly you might not get anything in your head or something. But how do we overcome this concept of stage fear? How do we do that? 2 things. Prepare and practice. Prepare and practice. Prepare and practice. So the first stage is, of course, to prepare. So to prepare for your speeches. You prepare your script. You prepare your, prepare a draft speech. Then you prepare your final speech. And then what do? You practice. Practice so much that the script becomes a part of you, part of your mind, part of your body. So even in your sleep, you should be able to recite your complete script. So these 2 aspects will completely allow you to gather the confidence that is required to talk in front of the audience, right? So sure, now maybe you might have gotten that courage. Okay, maybe I can come over the stage fear aspect, right? So maybe it's possible for me to try speaking in front of an audience. So my own personal story, what happened is that I initially in school, I never understood the importance of public speaking and all that. I used to be I was full on into studying, working on my assignments, reports, etc. during my school. And during my free time, I used to attend science programs, science camps outside, and used to write Olympiads and such. But I was not the kind of a person who would go there and talk in front of people. Even the assembly sessions, I used to stand at the back of a community singing session. That's it. That's my only contribution. That used to be how I was in my school days, right? So the moment I got into my college, my dad used to constantly tell me, Siddharth, you have to be a public speaker. So join Toastmasters, a community of public speakers, right? So he used to constantly nudge me to join. Even in college, in my first year, he's like, join. You have to join this. Just do try. Just give a shot. Maybe you will fail. That is okay, but just give it a shot. But I was never interested because first off, I was a full-on footballer in college in my first year. And I was purely focused on that. Morning, 4 o'clock, I wake up 4:30 on the ground, playing, practicing till 8 o'clock, then college classes, then evening 5 to 9 o'clock. That's my whole, that would be how I used to spend each and every day. And I was not that keen on public speaking. Well, I was thinking, why should I do that? Well, why should I waste my time? Well, I can talk. I can continuously keep blabbing stuff out there. So why do I need to talk in front of crowd right now? Right. So in my second year is when I really realized the importance. A lot of these clubs were opening up. I had opportunity to network with a lot of people, network with companies, network with potential internship opportunities. And I wanted to do that. But a lot of these times in group discussions, especially, I could not put my thoughts there. Whenever a topic is given, it used to be there. It used to come to the tip of my tongue. And I was like, I want to say this. I know the answer. I know how to solve this. I can get this opportunity. But then what happens is that stage fear is like, okay, no, let me pull this guy back. Let me pull this guy back. So my brain used to pull me totally back and put me down there. And that is when I realized, okay, maybe I should give this a shot. Maybe what my father told is actually right. Maybe I should try it out. Right. So I went to this first Toastmasters meeting and I'm there. I'm like, okay, maybe from today on, I'll be a superstar speaker. And second day I joined the club and then I took up my first opportunity. I'm like, I'll do my first speech, the next session. All confident. And I prepared a script because, of course, the first speech was something called the icebreaker, where you have to talk about yourself. So the first speech is to talk about yourself. You do that myself speeches, right? So I am Ritanya, I am Krantika, I'm Raghav, I'm Siddharth, I'm studying in this class, I'm studying here, all that. So it's basically something similar to that. So it was an icebreaker speech wherein I had to talk about myself. Right. So I wrote a speech, of course, because writing about yourself is the most, easiest thing you could ever do. So I wrote a full-fledged script for that, could talk for what, 4 to 6 minutes completely. And I was all ready. I was like, oh, I can do this now. Why even practice? I can actually go. It's about talking about myself, of course. And I was sitting there, already all excited to be called onto the stage. My first speech I'm going to give in front of an audience. And suddenly they said, Siddharth Narayanan, please come to the stage. Now give your first speech, the icebreaker speech, talking about yourself. So I walked, I was like all energetic. I started walking with that full confidence. And then I went to the stage, shook the hand of the person, turned around. I was looking at a crowd of around 50 people and not my age wala people. They were people who were CEOs of companies, people who started startups there. Principals of colleges and even MBA students also there. And I was a mere engineering BE student in my second year of college. And I was looking at them and I was so flabbergasted that I was standing there and all those eyes looking at me. I completely forgot my speech. So the speech that talks about myself, I completely forgot. I was standing there and I wanted to say something out. And at least I wanted to, so when you write these exams, when you have no idea what to write, you at least write name, Siddharth, class 10th, school this, and then you write the question at least and fill the paper so that the teacher at least will not look at that and laugh for 25 minutes, right? Well, that has happened to me, but still, it's another story. So same situation. I at least want to say, hello, everyone. My name is Siddharth. But I was standing there. I was thinking, wait, what is my name? What is my name? What am I here for? What am I doing? What is happening? Oh goodness. My brain was almost bursting. I was standing there looking at a crowd of around 50 people, accomplished people, expert speakers standing there. And I lost it. And I had my speech script on my jacket pocket, which I completely forgot in that moment. And I started shivering. Fortunately, thanks to Lord Ganesha, probably, I realized there was a speech script. I took it out. I opened it. So I've been reading English all my life. And I take pride in the fact that I'm very good at English. I've always secured good scores in English, at least even if I score low in other subjects. Looking at that piece of paper, just plain English, not even complicated, very plain English. I could not read. I could not understand what was happening. And I was shaking. What is happening here? Oh my goodness. I had completely forgotten to even understand or comprehend English. I was lost, blacked out completely, and standing at the crowd of 50 people. And they were not laughing, they were not smiling also. They were like that. They were not even blinking. And I totally lost, and I told the MC that I'm sorry, I can't do this. I just ran back and sat at the very corner on the backside, and I was like sitting like this, meekly hiding from everyone, embarrassed completely. So what happened next is I got a tap on the back suddenly, and this guy smiling, he's like, hey, you're also like me, huh? Okay, first speech, my even mine also completely gone, washed out. I turned and I was looking at him, and I was shocked, because that man today, when I was talking to him, when he tapped me at that moment, he was a motivational speaker. He speaks as a job, and he's a HR trainer as well. And he charges a huge sum for 1 hour of his sessions. And he does 3 to 4 sessions a day, around 6 to 8 hours of speaking a day in front of audiences ranging from CEO groups to government officials, government ministers, to students also. And I was sitting there and shocked completely, open mouth, thinking, sir, even you had that problem. And he was like, yes, Siddharth, even I completely blacked out, and I almost fainted and fell down on my first speech. So you did not do that. So that itself is an improvement as compared to my situation. You're starting way ahead compared to how I started. Now think of what all you can do. And he was the one who gave me this mantra: prepare and practice, prepare and practice. And that is the only way to go about speaking. That is completely the only way how to go about speaking, right? So now, how many of you feel that you can maybe give it an attempt, maybe try out? I can try out. I can try speaking in front of an audience. How many people feel that? Oh, perfect. Atmika. Who else? Maybe just give a brief introduction also in front of a small crowd as well. Oh, fantastic. Niranjana is also in. Who else? Okay. I can see Hari also, Hari Sharan. And maybe there's a lot of people, okay, in that. Okay. There are quite a few names. Sure. Super. So it's actually possible. So you're just a part of that 73% of people who have some stage fear, but with constant practice and preparation and practice. Of course, you too can at least give it a shot out there in front of the audience. Maybe try out a speech and impact them completely. Now that we have an idea, okay, maybe we can talk about something, right? So now, is there a methodology that somebody follows when you're writing a speech script? So that is something that so there is a structure I follow personally, which I would like to share, which is whenever I'm given a topic, I right before going into the research aspect, what I do is I just write that topic in bold on the center of a Google Doc sheet or a paper on the center in big letters. It might seem simple, but the problem is if you have not written something down on paper on the top, especially the title, your mind will think of a billion things except the title. So if you're researching, you will start with, let's say you're researching on photosynthesis. So your brain might start with photosynthesis. You will end up watching a cartoon. Maybe you will be watching that after 10 minutes, and you will spend another half an hour there. So instead of that, what I do is I write the title down on the center of the page, and then I give out a brief of what I want the audience to get out of my speech. So what does the audience want to get out of this? So photosynthesis, matlab, you can talk anything about that. You can maybe give them an informative idea on what is photosynthesis and how does it happen, right? Or you can talk about maybe connect photosynthesis to planting trees, and then you can ask people to start planting trees, because we need that in the environment right now. And you can make it a completely persuasive speech. You can push people to take an action, or you can inspire the audience to plant 1 million trees in the next 5 years. You can be an inspirational speaker, telling everyone to go talk to 100 friends and build a team and start planting trees also. Or you can entertain people, talking about how ridiculous is the fact that we completely learn about photosynthesis, but we forget to plant trees out there. We learn everything, but we don't apply it. So how funny that is. And you can do a stand-up comedy on that, which could be an entertaining speech. So that is the fundamental aspect. What do you want the audience to really learn or gather from your speaking? Because of course we know we have a lot of things to talk about. We're ready to dish it out to people, ready to completely converse with people. But are they gathering any insight or anything, or at least laughing, at least, because it's an entertaining speech, at least are they laughing for your speech? So this is the fundamental aspect of writing a speech. So write the heading, then go for what you want the people to gather from your speech. So that will be your speech outcome, right? And after which you actually go to the crux of the aspect. So what I do, what strategy I follow, is I create a draft speech. Draft speech will, if somebody reads the draft speech, they will not be able to make head or tail about the whole speech. Randomly writing sentences up, down, and center, maybe 500 sentences, 100 sentences, 200 sentences, 300 sentences. Maybe it might not even make sense. It might only vaguely be related to the topic also, but I just write the whole bunch down, but with the topic in mind. So this, what it helps me is, I can put all my thoughts into paper. So it's consolidated, it's right there. And you can read it again to see if it's a funny one, or if it's actually useful for your session, if it's persuasive, or what is it matching with your exact speech outcome, right? So what you have is, you have a huge block of content. You have a huge chunk of a lot of random sentences, research material, statistics, data, anecdotes, stories, etc. You could have right there on the piece of paper. Right. Now that we have that content, now how do, if I just go read that out of the person there sitting on the other side, they'll go really crazy. They'll go crazy. They'll be like, what is he talking? He started with photos, and now he's talking about some planting trees. Now he's then talking about solar panels in International Solar Alliance, etc. He's going here and there. And the people sitting there might be like, oh, what is happening? Why am I sitting here for 1 hour and I don't get anything? I'm not getting anything. They might start walking on. So how do we do this? We structure the speech. We structure the speech so that people can follow what you're saying. So what the method I follow for structuring a speech is the O, B, and C. O, B, and C method, which is the opening, the body, and the conclusion. The opening will always be how you start a speech, how you talk about the initial aspects of what your topic. So you have a title and you give a brief about the title. So this is what my title is about. This is what I'm going to talk about. And the complete speech will be about this. You could do that. Or maybe talk about a minor story that connects to the topic so that you can pull people into the game. So opening is where you hook and pull people into your life, into your story, so that they are ready to listen to the body. And the body is where the whole core of the speech happens. So there you can give anecdotes, you can give data, survey reports, analysis, or maybe complete a lot of humor content also, a lot of jokes there, right, which are related to the topic. So body is where you completely give people an idea of what you're doing, what you're talking about, what it is about. Your whole material happens in the body area. And conclusion is, I always say, conclude with an impact. So conclusion should have a call to action. So what do you want people? It should be relatable to the outcome. So what do you want people to do? Tell them in the conclusion. So summarize the whole points. Point A, B, C is what I was talking about in the whole speech. Now, what do I want you to do? I want you all to do this. So let's do it together and then close it with that saying and say, thank you. That's it. So opening, body, and conclusion, this is the basics of this aspect. And there's of course a lot more that goes into the outcome choosing and opening, body, conclusion. I'm sure another day we will probably connect offline or online, and then maybe we can work on those aspects as well, right? So this is how you basically start writing a speech. And finally, once you have a structure of a speech, you're set. So once you have the draft speech and you have the OBC method. So take those material from there, just drop it in the opening, body, and conclusion, and repeat it. Try talking, try saying that speech out. So speeches are not where you just say, respected teachers and my dear friends, I want to talk about this, I'm going to talk about this, then you talk a few sentences about this, blah blah blah. That might be good for a very formal setting, sure, great. But the kind of speeches that really create an impact is when you talk to people. So right now I'm talking to you. I'm not reading from a piece of paper, like, okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 sentences like that, just keeping going on reading from a piece of paper. Instead, I'm just talking to you about some things that I know, I've heard of, I've worked on. So that way I feel I can I can communicate better with you. I can give you better idea. Maybe even my emotions are also transmitted. For example, when I almost blacked out my speech completely, the emotions are what I want you to know, more than just this aspect. Just that oh, it happened, great, fine. That's not the whole point. So here, the best idea, once you have written the speeches and filled them out in a format of opening, body, and conclusion, is to read it out to yourself. So you'll be talking to yourself, because I believe ultimately you yourself are your own critic, the best critic that you can always get. So read that out. Do you feel that you're talking to yourself? Are you able to comprehend what you're saying? Maybe go to a mirror and talk it out. Then you might, if you feel that's okay, then that's it. That's your speech script. It's done. Then what you do is you memorize it completely. So this is the fundamental aspect of prepare. You memorize the speech thoroughly and then try to practice it first in front of the mirror for yourself. Once you're sure of it, then go to your family or your family basically, and 2-3 people be there, and then go to them, present it to them, see how they're taking it. Third, go to your near group of friends, your best friends, your close friends, your classmates maybe, right? And then give them that speech, and how do they perceive it? And are you comfortable there? These are minor aspects that will help you overcome this stage fear, because you're talking to familiar faces. Once you're really comfortable there, maybe you could go to your next circle of friends, which will actually determine, which will give you a little more confidence in that aspect. So when you've spoken to your acquaintances, maybe 10 people, have 10 people and try talking to them. So then once you're sure of that, then you're ready to go give your speech. Once you have gotten the material and also have, after practicing in front of audiences, you're ready to go out there, win the world, win the people's hearts ultimately, right? So these are some of the methodologies that I follow before I prepare a speech and get ready for an audience, right? So of course, initially it wasn't as easy, because I had to figure out my own methods. These methods were not exactly conveyed to me, and Toastmasters had a different format completely, and it's not let's say, you have to be certain, you have to have a certain level of motivation to push to completely go there. So I had a lot of struggles with how to go about it, and which I worked on, and this is some tips on how to go about the initial aspects. The in-depth details, and there are a bunch of activities that I usually perform, but I think that probably we can keep it for a different day, wherein I conduct a proper basic beginners training program for students, and I hope to connect with you all as well offline, and maybe we can work on these programs together, work on these activities together. So this is the fundamental, this is the basics of how I went about into the arena of public speaking, and how I failed initially, how I really messed up badly, but fortunately due to good influence from people, I realized that it's very okay to fail. It's really good to fail as well. You learn so much, but when you fall, that does not mean it's over. It's only a beginning of a new journey of life. And I really wish that you got some ideas from my presentation, and I would really like to take questions from you and would like to connect with you better. So maybe we could do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Perfect. So please do shout out your questions. I think I mean, you can just unmute and ask away.
Good morning, sir. I'm Niranjana from grade 7. How
Hi,
do
good
we
morning,
acquire
Niranjana.
the Yes, sir. How do we acquire the public speaking skills, sir?
Okay. So the core mantra that I follow is prepare and present, right? So as I said earlier, the idea is to, for example, you're given a topic, Niranjana. So you're given a topic on the last book I read, a topic. So what you do is you write down that title on the top of your paper, or you type it out in bold. So you have your mind focused on the topic. Great. Now what you do is, what do I talk about? I have to talk about the last book I read. Now what? So just think about the last book you have read. Okay. Maybe you've not read a book for a long time. Then what do? You read a book, or you go online and find a solution to that. You find a book that you really connect with. Then write down everything that you felt reading about the book, everything that you got, the information you got from the book, maybe a short review also if that is required, right? So this all depends on a core aspect called finding the speech outcome, right? So you decide, okay, I'm going to do this to a, let's say, college audience. So will you, if you're talking to a college audience, you cannot talk about your Supandi comics, of course. Maybe you can't talk about the comics. You realize that, okay, I'm talking to college students, so I can't talk about that because they will not like it. They may not connect with it. So what do? You figure out that, okay, I'm talking to a college audience, so maybe I might have to take a better book. Maybe I'll have to take a book that the college students can connect with. So you Google it out. You check it out. Okay, what are the books that are that the college students read? Popular books that the college students read. Or you can ask the host of the session, or the person who you're connected to, the coordinator. Okay, what kind of audience are they? Are they MBA students, business students, or are they science students? What are they? So do I talk about science books, or do they have a preference? Then you can start your research on the book. If you want to just tell about the book, you can, of course, go about making it a very informative session. Talk about what the book is good about. Write about what the book is good about. What does it have? The information it contains, etc. If it's let's say a funny book, or rather a funny speech, you want to add some entertainment aspect to it. So what do? You could take out some bits from the book which could be very serious, and you could find the humor to it and add it, and put some humor to it, mix and match, and then give the presentation, right? So these things, what you do is you just write it down and create a draft. Write down whatever comes to your mind. It could be really absurd also, but the most absurd points will also probably become one of the most important things ever in the future. So just write it down and then put it into the OBC structure. So this is one method I follow, and I'm sure it might be of help as well. So does that work, Niranjana? Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're always welcome. So next person, please.
Hariom, sir, I'm Joshika of grade 8. I would like to ask you a question, sir.
Hari Om, Joshika. So please do ask me a question.
Sir, what would you say is the most difficult part in public speaking, sir?
Difficult part of public speaking, or anything for that matter, would be to say yes when given an opportunity. So it's always when teachers ask you a question, you might know the answer, but you never put your hands up. Have you noticed that? Maybe you might not, maybe the others do. Especially if you sit after the third row. Everybody behind the third row will have that kind of a problem, because I was a part of that crowd. But it's always about putting your hands up, which is the most difficult task. After that, it'll just go with the flow, right? So the moment you take up the opportunity, stand in front of the audience, it will automatically flow if you have actually prepared properly. It's all about that. So does that work, Joshika?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Super. You're welcome. So next question, please.
Sir?
Hi.
Yes, sir. I'm Hanshita from grade 7, sir. Would I
Hi,
share my expression and get a solution from you, sir?
Sure. Please do.
Yes, sir. So when I have prepare a speech by myself and what my expression comes to me, so I prepare it well and I thought to give a good try to myself when I go to a stage. So the next day, if I go to the stage and I have prepared very well, sir, so I go to the stage and my body shivers and my heartbeat can get so pumped. So I feel very nervous. All the time also I feel like that, sir. So can you give some tips to overcome this nerve?
Sure, sure. So this is the another classic example of stage fear, of course, and it happens to the best of us. Even to me, even today, if I go, sometimes some crowds can actually intimidate me, and maybe this happens to me, right? So one thing that has always worked out is completely understand the audience, the hall, the situation, the surrounding area that you're going to. Maybe one day ahead, go to the hall, stand on the stage and look. Assume that you're already doing a speech. So have all these moments one day before without the crowd. So you're already prepared. You know this is a crowd. Are the mics working? Is the sorry? 1 second. Hold on. 1 second. Hold on. Sorry. I'm very sorry for that. I've been traveling, so I'm staying in a hotel here, so they just called me. So, yeah. So that is one aspect, being prepared with your surroundings. So when you're prepared, you know, okay, this is the hall, and maybe the next day when you talk and all, probably the last person is not hearing. So let's avoid those confusions. So you're ready. Second aspect, when you're right before your speech, what I do is, how many of you have seen Shaktiman, the cartoon? I'm sorry, I mean the superhero serial, superhero serial, Shaktiman or Superman. Superman also maybe you would have seen, right? Okay, Hari has seen. So what he does is he has his hands on his hips and he stands straight. He stands straight with the shoulders bulged. Stands like this. So just before the speech, before you come to the stage, if you get some 2 seconds or 5 seconds, stand with the Superman pose. Stand with your hands on your hips and then look straight with your heads held high, body straight and your shoulders fully widened. Stand like that. That itself will give you a confidence boost. So that will reduce your anxiety a bit. Then deep breathing. So if you take your deep breaths and you control your mind, because ultimately your breathing has the power to control the mind, right? When you control there, that drastically reduces the scope for any kinds of anxiety attacks happening onto you, any kinds of stress happening onto you, any kinds of public speech fears happening to you. Other than these tips, other than these tricks to trick your mind and actually prepare, is ultimately all about preparation and practice. So you practice in front of what the methods I asked you to follow. You do that, you are ready. And even the last minute also, you do these hacks, I would call it. You're sorted. You're very well to go. So does that answer your question? Hanshita, I think, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for asking.
Sir?
So next question, please.
Sir, can I ask you a question?
Hari, yes, sure.
Sir, who best inspires or motivates you, sir?
Who best inspires or motivates me would be me, myself, and I. So, so one of the things that I stopped comparing myself with a lot of people. Not perfectly. I'll never say I'm perfect in that, but still, especially we are in this Instagram, social media, Facebook age, right? Whenever you browse this thing, you will see somebody getting a job and going to US, somebody getting a job in Europe, somebody getting married, maybe somebody buying a Benz car, maybe, right? So your mind first itself goes to, oh, now I should also reach here. Why have I not reached here? Why have not reached this place? That way, right? So that creates a lot of insecurity in your mind. Why? What is the point of all this? Instead of that, why don't you just work on yourself? But ultimately, whatever I do, all these things I do also, even if a lot of money, a buckload of money is put on my head also, ultimately I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy doing whatever I am doing. So so exactly why I quit my job from Abu Dhabi, which was actually paying me very well, and came down. Now I'm in India because I want to explore India, learn more about India, and actually give back something to the country. Because ultimately, this country is what gives me food, gave me food, and made me who I am, whoever I am today. Right. So so whenever this whenever I feel down and I don't have, I mean, I lose confidence, I think about why I'm doing all this. Okay, now I'm doing for this country. Now I'm going to contribute here. So that way, I don't have to really compare myself with anybody. Right. Because there used to be a time when I used to properly compare myself with other people, and I knew I was not growing, I was not going anywhere. I was just sitting there and comparing. There was no use. And that just built my anxiety, and I was stressed. What was the point? Now, instead of that, I'm just comparing with what I did yesterday. Let's say how many speeches I did yesterday. I did 2 speeches. Today I did 3 and very well. I got good feedback. Oh, today I'm a successful person. Anybody ask me, I'm a millionaire today because I've done something very good. Maybe they might laugh at me and saying, you're just joking, man. You're not a millionaire. What millionaire? I have more money than you. But that doesn't really matter because I am rich on my own terms. A person who had 0 rupees yesterday having 10 rupees, he's a rich person. So another person who has always had 100 rupees getting 101 rupee might be sitting there sad saying I'm poor. But he's richer than that person in reality. But he's doing the wrong kind of comparison. So ultimately, a person who inspires me the most is myself of yesterday. But if he wants another name, one would be my grandfather, and grandfather for one, because he has built a business from nothing. At the age of 50, everything fell down. He built it again and became, I'm not getting words to even talk about him. He was fantastic in his life. And others would be my mom and my grandmother, the strongest women in my family who have, they have really kept the family strong. So those that way, and they have taught me kindness and things, and they've given me the idea of service to the people. But ultimately, what inspires me and drives me daily is who I was yesterday. So that's an answer.
Sir, your
Okay, sir.
page.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so much for the question. Yeah. Thank you
Sir,
so
shall
much.
I
And now
ask you a
Raghav. Raghav, right? I think you're muted.
Sir, shall I ask you a question?
Oh, it's Girivasan. Okay. Yes, please. Sure, please go ahead.
Sir, how to identify the public speech, sir? Sir, how's public speech?
I didn't get that. It was breaking. The voice was breaking actually.
Sir, how to identify the public speech?
How to identify the public speech? Asin, I didn't understand the question.
Sir, if that is a public speech or personal speech, how we should identify that, sir?
No, so well, public speech is whatever the term means. You're talking to a bunch of people, 5 people, 4 people, 3 people also. It's a public speech. Simple.
Sir,
So-
your voice is not clear, sir.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Now am I visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So public speech, there's speaking in front of an audience is public speaking. Simple that way. You're talking to a public. There you go.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So next question, please.
Sir,
Yes, I think.
good morning, sir.
Good morning, John. How are you doing?
I am fine, sir. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic. So please go ahead.
Sir, my question is, how do you motivate a student who wants to get good grades and achieve something in life, sir?
How do I motivate? So first of one aspect is there's a minor correction. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not. I just talk about my experiences, and I just give ideas on how to do this. That's it. That's it. Very simple. Because motivational speeches, there are so many online. There are people who are saying impossible is nothing, go out there, conquer the world, and all that, which will give you motivation for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Sure, it'll drive you for the 10 minutes. You will suddenly be like, oh, I can do 100 things now. Then maybe you might. I've done that mistake. So I've gone crazy on motivational speeches. That I started at 6 o'clock, ended at 10 o'clock, and I had motivation till 12 o'clock. So 10 to 12, I took up a bunch of activities that without even thinking, I was so confident, extremely overconfident also, took up so many opportunities, messed it up badly. And next day morning, I was like totally sad. Instead of that, what do you do? What is your purpose of doing something? Why are you doing all this? So are you doing it for a good car or a full family Europe travel? What are you doing this for? Right, John, why do you want to score good grades? Why?
So I can achieve something like a good position in life, sir.
Good position as in, well, you're already in a good position. If you're happy and if you're helping at least one person, you're already way better than, I would say, 50, at least minimum 50% of the students in the country. Because I know people who don't do anything even with so much of privileges with them. So what do you mean by the good position now?
So like getting a good amount of salary and
Okay.
like settling down in a place and having a good life, sir.
Okay, sure. I can totally relate and understand you that in that aspect. And there are multiple ways to look at it, wherein, of course, people say don't look at the materialistic aspects. But of course, I am nobody to say that right now. There are even bigger gurus in our country who are talking about it. But you want to make some money. You want to make some good money. So first step should be to define exactly what you want to do. Do you want to make 10 crores in 10 years? Do you want to make 1 crore in 1 year? So what do you exactly want to do? Do I want a job in a foreign country? Do I want to do this? So now what happens is that will be your, let's say, you write it on a piece of paper in bold. Day 100, day 10,000, year 10, whatever your plan is. You keep a timeline for it. 1 crore in or 1 lakh in 1 year or 10 years, let's say. And you say 10th year, 1 lakh rupees. So what do you want? How do you get that? Work backwards, reverse engineer it. See, think about, okay, now to get there, I can't just do some job that pays me 5,000 rupees. I can't do that. So what do? Now I have to find a job that pays me 1 lakh rupees a month. So where all are these jobs available? I have to go abroad for that, right? So maybe in India itself, there are good companies that are hiring. So what do I do for this? I have to do my undergrads properly. I have to get good scores in my school and do my undergrads, then do my postgrad. So what basically the underlying aspect that I'm trying to tell you is, have a goal in life. If you have a goal in life, you will find a way. Don't wait for anybody to come and motivate and give you that. Or still, since you are all in school, get bad grades and go to your dad and mom. They will give you the ultimate motivation that has always worked for me, which is one. Everything will work. After that, full 10 years will have motivation. So John, does that make sense? Maybe sit down, create a vision for yourself. After that, everything will work out.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question. So, sure, ask me away. Who else?
So Siddharth, sorry, am I audible?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, now.
Hello.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Now I think you are, sir. Yes.
I think I have some signal issues. Okay, please proceed. Sir.
Oh,
Thank you, friends. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the south. I call upon of Satvika of grade 8 with the heart of gratitude to propose the vote of thanks.
It is my esteemed honor to propose the vote of thanks on this wonderful occasion. Firstly, I would like to thank the Lord Almighty for his countless blessings and making the day a magnificent one. Today, I am ecstatic to take the opportunity to put all my gratitude into words. First and foremost, I thank our chief guest, Sri Siddharth Narayanan. I thank him for his inspiring words of wisdom and for adorning this function by his gracious presence. We are all inspired by his highly lively words. I thank our respected chairman and secretary for their motivation and remarkable support. Thank you, sir, and thank you, ma'am. I take immense pleasure in extending my sincere thanks to our guests, Dr. P. Ravi and Srimati Mallika Sridhar. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Our thanks extends to all the principals of associate schools. Thank you all. We owe special gratitude to our principal for being a constant guiding force in all our endeavors. I thank all the parents and teachers for their presence. Once again, I thank you all for your presence. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Siddharthji. That's what the wonderful, nice presentation.
thank
Very
you so much for
motivational.
the invitation, and I hope to connect with you offline, and maybe we could work on things together.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Siddharth. Great day, lot of experience, and a young mind with a lot of young thoughts bubbling out.
Thank you so much,
Really,
sir.
I feel a bit young when after your session. Definitely,
You
as
are
said,
young. You are young. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Hari Om to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Hari Om.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir. Hariom, sir.
Thank you, sir. Arun, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.